Sid continues to be the most unrelatable character in the history of anime. He gets the offer to take over this entire clan and 100 women, and he's like, nah, not interested. It's like, dude, okay, yeah, whatever, Sid, you go keep doing you. That's fine. But no, I was really happy to finally see some Delta this episode. I always feel like Delta is the most unutilized character in the entire series. Like, yes, she pops up like here and there just to kind of shred a bunch of people up, but she's such a fun character, and it sucks that she never really gets any frontline, no limelight or anything like that. And yeah, while later parts of the first season, they did have this whole moment where she got to fight like crazy, but she's a lot of fun. I just find Delta to be a lot of fun. I don't think like she's the most in-depth character. We could possibly get some in-depth look into her because we're already kind of bringing up her brother of thousands. And the fact that they have this guy that's currently running this one organization seems like he possibly is from them as well. Maybe might be a brother or something like that, but really cool stuff to kind of finally get at least a little bit of insight into her and seemingly all the people that are beast folk. But yeah, episode 4, honestly, has some interesting things within it, but I do have to admit that obviously compared to episode 3, it's going to be quite a bit of a downgrade. We're kind of chilling out after the big crazy epic battle that we had in the last episode. So it was a little bit of a lulling point, but at the same time, there was some cool stuff in here amongst a lot of information dump, a lot of economy information dump. But yeah, let's jump into it. Yukime apparently confronted Shadow. I forgot to mention that last episode. Episode 3, it showed Sid walk into a carriage. And then when he was in the carriage, he was Shadow. And I'm thinking to myself, so does that mean that Yukime knows that Sid is Shadow? She knows that his identity is, or is it just like they wanted to do something cool with the anime and show him walk in and then identity changed? It kind of like is one of those moments where it's like, I think she would have noticed that, that he literally walked in as Sid and then turned into Shadow. But no, it seems like Yukime wants to use Sid to help her with taking over the economy in the area, in the royal capital. And it seems like the emphasis in this episode is that Mitsugoshi, which is the corporation that Alpha and everybody created, the Shadow Garden created this big corporation, is causing problems and the other companies are wanting to take them down. And Yukime seems to want to use Sid or Shadow to help her pretty much let them keep fighting and then take over things afterwards. And it's so interesting because Sid apparently wants to help her. Sid, who created Shadow Garden that created Mitsugoshi, wants to take down Mitsugoshi. That's the interesting thing. And it seems to qualify it in the idea that he notes that, yeah, Mitsugoshi grew too big. They used all the knowledge that he had from his previous life to create all these products and whatnot. And they built themselves too big to the point where they were disregarding all the other companies. They were becoming a monopoly. And he doesn't seem to like that. And so he's wanting to essentially aid Yukime to take down all the companies and then build something afterwards and then give that over to the Shadow Garden. It's like, rather than go to Mitsugoshi, tell them what they should do in order to fix what they're doing, he wants to destroy everything and build a new one. I guess the idea there is that you would technically create something of a different name, and thus it wouldn't have the negative stigma that it currently has, Mitsugoshi's name has right now. But if you're going to let the management take over the new company, people are still going to know that it's the same company. It's just one of those weird things. Maybe I missed something in there, but I don't entirely get what Sid's doing. Besides the idea that he just wants to do something fun, like, oh, let's destroy all these companies. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a Shadow thing to do. I don't know. This was probably one of the, well, there's a lot of times that I don't agree with what Sid does, but it's one of those big moments where I don't really quite understand what his mindset is here. I do understand what he wants to do. Well, what he wants to do that initially Yukime changes to is he suddenly gets this random desire that, oh wow, it looks like the banknotes that the other corporations are using is like, has no watermark and stuff. Like, it's easily copyable. And he remembers back when he was young that he wanted to copy a yen bill. And so he's like, okay, let's go ahead and do that. And he runs off, tells Yukime that they're going to print a whole bunch. And she's like, oh, so that we can fill the market and thus people lose the trust in the bill. Is that what you think? Yeah, because then it'll flood the market, and then it'll destabilize everything, and they'll see that it's fake and that it can be faked, and then everything will fall apart. Is that what you feel? Okay, I did get a kick out of that. A very rare Sid made me laugh moment was just him kind of, again, but that goes in that whole thing. The one thing I do really like about Sid is I always like how he creates this mindset. Somebody takes it differently. I mentioned that with the first season. It's the Overlord Eins on Gold kind of thing. That idea that they say something, somebody misinterprets it, and then he kind of goes with it. And I really like that kind of stuff. But yeah, Yukime brilliantly brings up the fact that, yeah, it's going to pretty much kill the trust in the bill. People go back to the banks and they withdraw their money. Which, yes, honestly is a thing with money and banks and whatnot. I kind of get a kick out of the fact that that's pretty much what they drew from Sid at some point, is Sid told them about the bank systems and stuff like that at some point, and they create a bank system. Which, yes, technically makes sense. The idea of a company that you can bring your gold to, and they gave you essentially banknotes. They're just an IOU, and that, yes, in actuality, creates a duplication of it, which then they can then use that currency to give to other people, to loan to other people. And thus you have a bunch of paper running around with the same amount of stuff that back here that never changes. It is kind of one of those interesting things to kind of look into, and yes, technically the best way to break that is to lose the trust in the banknotes themselves. And that's what Yukime wants to do. So yes, I do like what they're doing with the downfall of the companies, seemingly. It's just, yes, I still don't understand why Sid's doing this. I don't know why Sid's helping Yukime. I don't understand anything that created this alliance between the two of them, but I get what they're doing here. So maybe, hopefully in the next episode, they'll clarify why is Sid, Shadow, working for Yukime? What purpose does he have to work with her? That could play into what I said earlier, the possibility that Yukime knows who Sid is, knows who Shadow is, and that's why he's helping her. Don't know. But yes, like I said, I loved finally seeing Delta. He just sitting there eating. They have like a drive-by carriage shooting over here. It's like scene change. Guy gets shot down in the street by this running carriage. And I'm like, wait, was that a drive-by? And I went back and I'm like, yeah, that was a carriage drive-by. They have carriage drive-bys in this world. And then it cuts over to Sid and he's just sitting there eating and there's this little puppy next to her. And yeah, sure enough, it's Delta. I kind of assumed it was Delta, but apparently Sid didn't realize it. But no, having this cute little moment where he's walking and Delta's just hanging on to him, wanting to hunt with him, wants to do something with Sid. And again, that goes back to that whole thing of like unrelatability. It's like Delta just wants to do something with Sid and he just doesn't want to have anything to do with her. And it's super sad. But yeah, she wants to hunt down anything with him, bandits or whatever. And then he reminds her of Alpha, and then she freaks out and gets all pouty face because she's afraid of Alpha. But no, like I said earlier, this is where we kind of get a little bit of glimpse into the beast folk. This idea that when they go down on the ground, they're killing all these bandits. Eventually, one of them calls out to her as Sarah. Apparently, Sarah was her original identity, and at some point, she got possessed. Her father came to go kill her, and she got away, and presumably Sid then cured her. But yeah, that's when they reveal the fact that Delta, like, her father literally has, like, 1,000 children. Like, her killing one brother, like, she has no connection to him. He's like, oh, Sarah, it's me. It's your brother. Yeah, please don't kill me. And it's like, it almost feels bad for a second of, like, the fact that she just impales him. And she's like, no, I don't want a weak brother. And additionally, yes, the fact that I have 1,000 is like, it's literally like the population. It's like, you know, are you as concerned of this person dying as any of these other bandits? Because that's pretty much numerous. The numerous amount of them is equal to me killing any other one of these bandits. It's like, I have no connection to this guy. And plus, additionally to, yes, their traditions, it seems, the idea of having a weak family member is a disgrace. So it kind of compounds on itself. It is still kind of sad, but at the same time, it compounds on itself that she would have no connection to this guy. Equally, she would detest this guy. And yes, technically it doesn't counter what the guy's doing, which is presumably just stealing, but he could be killing people too, because he's a bandit, and bandits steal and kill and pillage. So there's no telling what he does. But yeah, that's when Delta offers Sid, you should take over the tribe, and I'll bring you 100 women. He's like, no, I'm not interested. I'm like, dude, Delta's all for it. She says she's gonna bring you 100 more girls. You got all the beast girls with you, and you could have thousands of kids. But he's like, no, I'm too busy wanting to copy banknotes. I want to duplicate. I want to make counterfeit bills. I don't want to make babies with beast folk. That's what normal kids want. I just want to do dumb stuff. Again, most unrelatable character in the history of anime. I know it would probably change the entire story if suddenly out of nowhere Sid runs off to the beast folk land and just spends the rest of his days, making babies. That'd be an interesting. That's probably a doujinshi somewhere. That's got to be something. There's a fanfic out there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe they made a side story. What if of Eminence and Shadow? I'd read it. Delta gets to be first, though. But no, the brother before he dies mentions the idea that he's now working for Geton, which he goes to say something like the legendary Geton. So it kind of implies this idea that this guy is like probably like a legend of their tribe, and he's super powerful. At first, I thought it might be possibly her dad. Like that would be the most shrug reveal, is the idea that this guy that's working behind the shadows to aid this corporation network is literally her dad. After she just mentioned the idea that the clan leader is, her dad, and he has all these women, now he's suddenly helping some corporations to protect their goods. And that Sid should take over and have lots of babies, and then, yes, he has to eventually kill her dad, and then Delta could be like, well, you're the new clan leader, now you have to have all these Beast Folk girls. And then the Shadow Garden gets full of Beast Folk girls. Who knows? They could probably still go that direction. Maybe. Well, again, I don't think they would call his dad the Legend Geton. I'm working for the Legend Geton, but it could be. He looks like a really tough Beast Folk guy, but again, that's the whole concept of him being a legend of their clan. But anyways, we'll see where it goes from here. Again, I'm hoping that there's some kind of explanation as to why Sid's working for Yukime. Find out again what's going through his mind right now and destroying the entire corporation Mitsuhoshi. There is a side of me that kind of wonders if possibly Mitsukoshi. There's a side of me that makes me kind of wonder if there's a possibility that he is saying destroy all this stuff and rebuild it, but he's in the end probably not going to do that. I don't see him wanting to make a company. Like I said earlier, that's the part that doesn't really make sense, is if he doesn't want to go bang wolf girls and stuff like that, why would he want to build a company? That would be extremely boring for him. I don't see him wanting to get involved with that. But it could be a thing that he's planning on building a new company with Yukime, and then he's going to pass over leadership to the Shadow Garden. But who knows? Again, hopefully we'll get more explanation there. But it was a fun episode overall. Despite the fact that a lot of this episode is just economic stuff that is, again, not too interesting. Again, the whole banknotes and stuff like that and duplication of currencies through banknotes is kind of fascinating, but at the same time, didn't really need that much of explanation. But hopefully next episode is a little bit of a tune-up again. But that's my thoughts on episode 4. 4? Yes, 4. 4 of Eminence and Shadow, second season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment. Would you take the offer? Would you take the Delta offer? I want to know that. But additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get my content, news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.